Hey, remember that old man I told you about on the beach in Daytona? And he lassoed me and made me an unwilling student in his class, open air, open beach, classroom of psychology, like 001. It's not 101 because I'm only like 12 years old, okay? So we're not even talking entry level shrinkdom, okay? Oh, and he's teaching me, well, he's blathering on about how if anybody ever asks you what the most powerful force on earth is, you tell them it's water. Blah, blah. He's giving me these examples of how water can crack and break down the biggest boulders because when it freezes, I'm like, thank you. I'm 12 years old. I'm at Daytona Beach, and I'm just trying to, be a boy. I was never a boy. Damn. Yeah, there's that, and that's for another time. And we're not talking old souls here. If I meet you and you say, "Oh, well, I'm an old soul," I'm going to say, "Well, there's the door." Okay. It's the Zicam, which is opening my sinuses, mixed with the aromatherapy, which is probably the reason I had to use the Zicam to open my sinuses. Between the two, it gives you like, you know how when you have like two things and then you put them together in your olfactories or your taste buds and it's something else, but it reminds you of something. Isn't that neat? I mean, unless it reminds you of like something that's not, not neat. So yeah, he's trying to teach me about how water is the most powerful force on earth. And of course, as we all know, he was dead wrong. God bless him. God rest his soul. I'm sure that man's long. Oh, that old man's long dead by now. I'm almost 60. I mean, I guess he could be 120 or 130 or something. I guess it's possible. How old was a Japanese woman? Like 121 or what? There's quality of life, I guess. Where did you have quality of life? Okay, back on point, John. So he was dead wrong. Love is the most powerful force on earth. And it was demonstrated to me a couple days ago, whatever. Remember them two women I told you about that came up in my house? Well, I let them in my house. Once I determined they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, okay? I mean, Jehovah's Witnesses are people too. But, how's the expression goes? All of our visitors bring us happiness. Some by coming, some by leaving. I'll just leave it at that. And they always gang up on you, the witnesses. They never come alone. Well, no, the one guy did come alone. Yeah. But I think he was a scout, like they send out like an ant or a wasp, you know what I mean? Before they go and just destroy the whole bee nest, Because there was probably 3 or 4 more because they ride around those minivans. Okay, I digress. Enough of the witnesses. They believe they are doing God's work. I leave them be for now. So yeah, back on point. Love is the most powerful force on earth, and it was demonstrated to be a couple of days ago. You remember them two women I told you about, right? They come up in my house. I made sure they're not Jehovah's Witnesses, so I let them in. They're kind of pushy broads. You want to know the truth, both of them. That mother and daughter do. It was a tag team. It was a tag. But see, I knew that going in. Okay? One, I had established they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. Mikasa Sukasa, if I said that right, I hope. Sometimes I try in Spanish too. It doesn't fit well either. And I realized I knew they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm kidding. Because, you see, I knew them through someone else. I'd never met them before, but I knew them. And it's true. I knew they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. I ascertained that pretty quickly because they didn't have the watchtowers in their hand. Okay, it's easy. You look for the watchtower, which is not to be confused with all along the watchtower. Which no, neither one did right. I don't know Bobby or Jimmy. No, it's just a stupid song. It is. That's my opinion. As a writer. Okay, so I let these two women in to my humble abode. I call it Serenity Hill. And I knew that between the two, between the daughter and the mother, remember how I told you they were each other's daughter and mother? You see, it keeps the story simple. Okay, stay with me here. I knew that the mother was the field marshal. I knew that. She was my counterpart, my contemporary. Okay? My equal. My force to be reckoned with. Okay? Stop banging the table at. Watch your language. I got ready to call myself a derogatory name. Can you believe that? That I would ever think of myself in a negative light? Now, the flower child that I am? No. Yeah, I know it's hard to fathom, isn't it? Hold on. Yeah, 20-ounce Red Bull cans seem to say made in Switzerland. But I noticed that the 8.4 ounces say Austria. It's all a bastion of colonial watchmaking anyway, isn't it? Can you say cotton gin? Wait, interchangeable parts? Oh, there it is. And yeah, and I believe that was on the King's English, the King's yardstick. Yeah. I'm really digressing here. Where the hell am I going with this? Yeah, so she was like the field marshal. She was like she was the yin to my yang. Okay, the laurel to my hardy. Okay, the book to my end. Yeah, I'll let you think about that for a second. So, I knew better. I let her sit up on the field, okay, across my living room on her berm, while I sat on my berm, with the chasm of warfare between us and the ensuing bloodshed that was about to occur. And all over this one person that we all have in common. If it wasn't for this one person, the three of us would not have found ourselves at this crossroad. So I knew I was outmatched, obviously. Look at it this way. Remember the story about if a man falls in the forest and there's a woman, or he's always wrong, and no matter what he does? It's kind of like along those lines. Picture it. Sicily, 1932. Thank you, Ma. And Golden Girls. So I know that it was a good sitcom, I have to admit it. And yet I'm a man and like to masturbate to images of naked women. But I loved the Golden Girls. I know. Picture it. My living room. The battle horn is sounded. I'm already outmatched because there's two of them and there's one of me. I don't have cannon fodder to send out onto the field first. No. I've got to ride out onto the field, on horseback, of course. No ponytails or braids in my horse's mane. I'm a man. I don't care if she is a sexy filly. I'm a man. Did that get too close to bestiality? It did approach it. Okay. I got to ride out onto the field of battle and face off not my counterpart. Oh, no, 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 no. This field marshal's brutal. She sends out her, like, number one. Remember how I talked about Jonathan Frakes, and you never want to see me do, well, you probably do want to see me do an impersonation of number one, Star Trek TNG, walking. Yeah, it's flipped. How did I go there? So I have to go out and face her number one. That's how I went there. Now, her number one doesn't walk like number one. She walks like a young lady. She doesn't walk like a, whew. Just go YouTube some stuff on TNG and watch Jonathan Frakes, number one. Stand up, pull his uniform down, because they always had to do that. They hated that because they said the clingy stuff it was made of always made their poopock show, and they would always have to pull their jerseys down. Get past that and watch him walk. Just watch him walk. That's all I'm going to say. I have it down to a science. Remember I struggled. I am an impersonator only. I do it with physical humor, attempted humor, which is not good or funny, but not with my voice. So, so she sends out her number one. I'm like, well, this is kind of I'm not exactly, it's like receiving a reply that says nuts. I know, you'll have to Google all of that. I'm so cruel. And that's kind of how I was feeling. I thought, but okay, I will give you your day, my counterpart, and I will allow you to watch the battle play out, so that you may count the rifles, etc., etc. And so I took on her champion, her number one, her daughter. The one with the cool looking braids. Remember I talked about the cool looking ponytails or something? And they kind of look like ram's horns, but they're like really pretty, but they look kind of like ram's horns or something. And I think they probably went all the way around. I couldn't tell because of the drug dealer jacket. Remember, it's these two. That's who I'm talking about. Okay, so I took on her number one, her champion, and I allowed the field marshal to sit back and watch. And as I engaged her most charming number one with the interesting coif, I found her champion to be a worthy champion indeed. But because of my horse that I was on during battle, I found myself in a position above this champion, her champion. Well, I am the field marshal for the other side, remember? I'm like the king, okay? And there's another king over there who also happens to be a queen, because she's the mother. Okay, so, all right, see. So, I take on her champion, and I find myself, I have to work. I've got to work at it. But I find myself slowly gaining control of the battle. I found her champion answering my blows, assuming a defensive posture, while the field marshal looked on and took notes. Yes, yes. This woman, this mother, this field marshal that sent her daughter into the lion's den to battle with the lion so that she could gain information. Very clever woman indeed. I will not make this mistake again. Next time, it will be field marshal against field marshal. I have spoken!